With Robo. In the background, you hear John playing his Star Trek Online. Pew, 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 pew. Kill the Borg. I would assimilate you, but I don't believe in bringing down the collective. That's not nice. Anyway, Real with Robo. A couple of friends have asked me to touch on topics. And my first topic is transgender in women's sports. Okay, but to be fair, we should also talk about transgender in male sports as well. There's a lot of ground to cover in this. I was watching a video yesterday, catching up on my news and what it's all about. And, I heard a transgendered woman talking about how, before their sex change, transgenders that are male that want to be female and participate in female sports have to have a maximum of 10 whatever the hell about their testosterone in their system. Well, normal women only have 3. So then she went on to explain that she thinks that's way too high, so it should only be 5. And I'm like, yet you're talking about how you don't have, an advantage. Now, the testosterone in your system has absolutely nothing to do with your muscle mass, nor with your physicality. Okay? That's 1. 2, why should it be 5 if normal women are at 3? I don't understand. Then there was this special on this one lady who they swore up and down was a guy, and she turned out to have high testosterone levels because she was a hermaphrodite, which, then they should, they should have the right to compete in either sport. But what I'm saying is before the sex change, I think you should participate in your own sexist sports. Because anything else is like pansy. And I don't mean to disrespect transgenders out there. I'm just stating how I feel about it. Okay, you may feel different, you may not. I feel that transgendered people that go through the sex change have a right, and we have a responsibility to acknowledge them, as women or as men. They went through all that hardship to get to where they wanted to be, and we should respect that. I mean, my viewpoints ain't gonna be real with a lot of people, because then they're gonna be like, oh man, you selling out. No, I'm not selling out. Because you know what? That's what America lacks these days, is respect for other people. If you never knew a woman went through the sex change, then you really wouldn't have nothing to say to her. You'd be like, okay, she's got a deeper voice than the rest of the people, just like I do, but she's still a woman. So, ma'am, or whatever. And you wouldn't have a problem with her competing in women's Olympics and women's sports. And that's what I don't have a problem with. If after the sex change you want to compete in women's sports, by all means, have fun, have at it. I hope you win, get your medal, all that, do good. But now before the sex change, I don't think it's fair, because regardless how many hormone treatments you're going through, regardless what your testosterone levels are at, you're still a guy. And that means you still have that innate muscle mass and physicality that guys have. And that is an advantage over women. And I'm not trying to cry and go, well, you're not being fair or whatever. But if you're going to open it up for a man to compete in women's sports, why don't you open up women to compete in men's sports? That's what you did with the Boy Scouts and girls, but you didn't do that with the Girl Scouts and boys. There's a lot of sensitive little boys out there that want to learn how to bake cookies. I mean, for real, for real. I mean, what are you really talking about? I mean, like if you're gonna play equality and try to argue equality, then you should play the whole equality. Like if there's girls allowed in the Boy Scouts, then there should be boys allowed in the Girl Scouts. But there isn't. You know? Like there are some things that are for boys only. And there are some things that are for girls only. And that's not wrong. That's not being uninclusive. If you want to know how to shoot a rifle, then by God, why don't you ask your dad? Especially if you live in the South. I mean, if you're a girl and you want to learn how to shoot a rifle, ask a redneck. They'll show you. No disrespect to rednecks. I love you dearly, especially when my car breaks down. I am not joking. I'm so for real on that one. When my car breaks down, them motherfuckers be hooking it up. Anyway. But on the for real, if you gonna say that men should be allowed, before the surgery to participate in women's sports, then women should be allowed to participate in men's sports. How about we cut it out altogether, women versus men's sports, and just let them all compete in the same sport? Make it fair. And that's what gets me about this whole thing, is nowadays it's not about being fair. It's about, I'm a transgender man, so I want to be in women's sports, but I haven't went through the surgery, therefore, nothing has really changed. I'm still a guy. That's not fair. How is that fair? And you have higher testosterone level allowances than women do? No, that's not fair. Hell, you have higher testosterone allowances than hermaphrodites do. And they were born both male and female. And that's not fair. I applaud the transgender men that have turned into women. And I applaud the transgender women that turned into men. Because they went the full extent. And they deal with the hate every day. And they deal with all that shit every day. And they should be allowed to participate in their Olympics of choice. They're a woman now, so they should be allowed to participate in women's sports. And we should respect that. Or they're a man now, and they should be allowed to participate in men's sport. And we should respect that. But before the surgery, no. Not at all. Not unless you're going to cut down both lines. Now, if you're going to make it fair and have everybody participating in every sport together, then by all means, have at it. That's what I'm talking about. Put it all on the table. And the best man or woman wins. But no, that's not fair. With the allowances and the rules of the Olympics and the testosterone levels, that's not fair to them. Because testosterone, even though it has no pull on a man's physicality, other than that he's a man and he has, a quicker rush to adrenaline and all that. It has no pull. So, how is that fair that they're allowed to have, more testosterone, higher levels than women? That's not fair. But they're also allowed to compete as men in women's sports. That's not fair. Now, if you went through the change, if you went through the surgery, then it's fair because you're a woman now. And if they don't like it, well, tough shit. That's how it goes. And that's my thoughts on that. I mean, honestly, I think it's really pansy-like for a man to cry over not being able to participate in a woman's sport. They wouldn't let me participate because I'm a man, but I'm a transgender, so I should be respected as a woman. No, you shouldn't, because you haven't went through the change. You're not a woman. Quit it. You're a man. Participate in a man's sport. Stop being a pussy. Okay? Just like I said with the Boy Scouts. You're a girl. Go join the Girl Scouts. If you want to learn what the Boy Scouts learn, tell your den mothers to teach you what the Boy Scouts learn. It's very easy. Stop being a crybaby wuss. It's not fair. They get to learn how to do this and they get to learn how to do that. Well, you get to learn how to bake cookies, motherfuckers. So stop crying.
Cookies are good.
Cookies are damn good. And kids that know how to make fucking cookies, I appreciate them more than kids that don't. And I said that, and you could take that to the bank. But Robo, you're not being fair to transgender women. They want to be women. Well, when they are women, then they could participate in women's sports. If they are not women, then they should not be allowed to participate in women's sports because they are not women. Just like if a woman walks in and says she wants a job that is usually a man's job, the boss is going to look at her like she's crazy. And unless she could prove herself, she's not going to get the job. Okay? And I've worked in many male-dominant jobs. Construction, concrete laying, everything. Okay? Truck driving. I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But the fact of the matter is, if you're going to make it fair for everybody. Because you're not being fair to women. Men have a better physicality, and it's scientifically proven that men physically mature quicker than women do. And we mentally mature quicker than men do. So, like, how fair is it for a woman who's mentally more mature to take on a man in a smarts contest and say, because I'm a transgender woman, I should be able to participate in this man's sport? It wouldn't be fair, because we got one up on them. Mentally. Physically, men have one up on us. And unless you go through the change, you're not a woman. So until you go through the change, I'm not going to acknowledge you as a woman. I'm not going to say that it's fair that you get to participate in Women's Olympics. And I'm not going to agree with anything like that. You see, I have a sister that is transgender. I love her to death. I absolutely respect her struggle. I honor her. She's a fucking superhero. She really is. Why? Because she went through the change? Blah, blah, blah. No. Because she carries herself like a fucking woman. Alright? That's why I respect her. Not like these other motherfuckers that have to have their dicks hanging out everywhere, their balls hanging out, and trying to be ladylike. That's not ladylike. That's not being a woman. Oh, look at me, I got boobs now. I'm going to put my tits all over everybody and point them all out to the world. I've got boobs. That's nasty. And for anybody to think that it's fair that a man, regardless if he's taking hormone treatments, participating in a woman's sport is right or not pansy-like, well, you're fucking retarded. And you could quote me on that. My sister has went through hell. Literal hell. She has been ostracized. She has been put down. She has been dogged out. And she's more of a woman than many of you bitches out there. So, On a really though, I have nothing against transgender people. I just don't think that if you have not went through the surgery, you should not be competing in women's sports. If you have not went through the surgery, you should not be in our little clubs. If you have not went through the surgery, you are not allowed at our naked bubble popping girly parties. You're not. And that's real. Just because you're too big of a pansy to take on your own manly kind, don't try and say, I'm a winner. Look at me, I won. You're also a man. Versus women. And some women are very, very fucking tough competitors. But I'm just saying. And I'm being honest with you, and I'm being real with you. You're still a man. Regardless if you have hormone treatments, you're still a guy. And until you have that change, you're not a woman. Not in my eyes. And so if that offends or insults somebody, well then that's your damn problem. And you could take it up with me. But I want you to know that real transgender women act like my sister. She doesn't ask for special treatment. She doesn't bitch and moan about, oh, I'm transgender, treat me special. She carries herself like a fucking woman. And until you know how to carry yourself like she does, you're a man. And that's it. That's real with Robo. That's my thoughts on that.